Hi, my name is Hillary Brown, and I am your student's teacher for a PSU geology dual credit class this year. I'm going to start this by telling you a little bit about me and my background, and then talk about the content and structure of the geology class in addition to the dual credit component through Portland State. So I grew up in Southeast Portland. I went to Cleveland High School many years ago. And when I graduated, I was ready to get out of the rain and went to the University of Arizona in Tucson to earn a degree in geoscience. After that, I worked at the U.S. Geological Survey in Menlo Park and Los Alamos National Lab in their volcanic hazards program before going back to graduate school and eventually earning a graduate degree in geophysics. I eventually made my way to Houston to take a job with an oil company and was an exploration geophysicist there for a while before realizing that I could have a better and more impactful, career working with young people, sharing what I love about earth science and science in general with kind of a new generation of students. So I eventually worked my way back to Portland after having kids of my own, and I live in the Hayhurst neighborhood. I have a third grader and a first grader, and I'm just so happy to be part of the Ida B. Wells community um, in more ways than one. So, so now I teach geology here, and part of the reason why I push to offer this dual credit class is that number one, I love the content, but number two, I see real advantages of offering dual credit that might be different than an AP class. So one of which is that the students who take this class do not need to pass an exam at the end because since the content is aligned with the content for these courses at Portland State, um, the grade they get in my course is the grade that they get on their PSU transcript. So that's a huge advantage. Another is that you're getting college credit at a giant discount. So I can talk about that in just a minute. So so less stress of not possibly getting credit by not passing an AP or getting a high score on an AP test. And also there are advantages with being part of PSU in terms of field trips and access to technology. We have a lot of equipment that we borrow from Portland State, as well as professors who come here to work with the students. They pay for field trips. So it just makes it's a really wonderful experience to have this relationship and gives another dimension to a college level class that not all AP classes necessarily have. So I'm a huge proponent of dual credit, as you can tell. So the way this class works is it's actually two separate classes at Portland State. In the fall, here at Ida B. Wells, we cover the interior of the Earth as well as um, rocks and minerals and Earth's composition. So plate tectonics, rock and mineral identification, some seismology, things like that. That class at PSU, there's a lecture component and a lab component that add up to 4 credits. So it's the Portland State G201, 204 class. So it's 4 quarter credits. In the spring, we do a different Portland State class. It is their surface geology. So fall is interior, spring is surface. So rivers, streams, glaciers, mass wasting, that sort of thing. And it is the Portland State G202, 205 class, which is another 4 credits. So each semester, they're getting 3 credits lecture, 1 credit lab, 3 credits lecture, 1 credit lab. So a total, if your student completes the entire year in the course, they can earn 8 college quarter credits. That means that you pay a tuition for the fall and for the spring separately. So the discounted rate for the challenge program is $220 for the fall semester and class and $220 for the spring. Right now, we're in the process of registering for the fall class, and I can talk about dates. But we will have another registration time for the spring, which will be like January, February timeframe. So $220 is not insignificant. I realize that, especially right now, that is a lot of money for many families. There is financial aid available if your family qualifies for free or reduced lunch and has submitted the paperwork to Portland Public Schools. We can fill out a waiver so that that tuition is reduced to $50 per semester. Also, if your student is a foster care student or is an emancipated minor or homeless youth, all fees are waived. So that $220 that we pay as a challenge tuition, if you were taking the exact same class at PSU, the course would be $1,000. And that's still a public university. So university costs have gone up an incredible amount in the last 20 years. So that's kind of the basis for how the class is laid out. And right now, some important deadlines that are coming up are the last day to register and pay for the Portland State Credit is Monday, October 4th. I have walked your students through the registration process in class. Many of them are just missing the final paying component. If your student has not yet started the registration process, they need to do that this week in order to have the turnaround with the paperwork to be able to pay by Monday, October 4th. I have been talking about this with them a lot in class, but sometimes there's the disconnect between what we talk about in class and what parents hear at home. So just know that the 4th is the last day to pay, but you want to start registration before then. If your student is struggling later on and realizes that they're concerned about earning credit or possibly might need to drop it because it's too much of a load for them, the last day to drop the class for Portland State Credit and have nothing on their transcript is November 5th. So they can drop before then if they're feeling overwhelmed or if they've got other things going on that are keeping them from being successful in geology. I don't anticipate that happening. You've got a lot of awesome, strong students out there who seem to be managing their stress fairly well despite everything. So, but know that that is an option. If they wait until December, the last day to withdraw from PSU for credit is December 17th. So that means you withdraw from the class, you get a W on your transcript, but it does not count against your GPA. Some other people might be wondering, well, where can this credit transfer to? So it can transfer to definitely all Oregon schools. Most public institutions, we have not had any issues with the credit not transferring. So all public schools and many private schools will take this dual credit, but often as elective credit. I would recommend signing up for the credit regardless, because what I've seen happen many times is that a student is insistent that they are going to a private school somewhere, and in the end, they end up going to a different school that would have taken the credit, but they never signed up for the dual credit program. So it's like a missed opportunity. So if you can afford to sign up for the credit, I would recommend it as a good idea, because the truth is you probably don't know exactly where your child is going to college. So so I think that was the bulk of what I needed to cover. The class is mainly graded based on assessments. So unlike other high school courses where you might be turning in small assignments. We are doing a lot of activities in class, but it is primarily going to be assessment based. So they're going to be taking quizzes and tests, more similar to a college class. I think that this class is also a really good opportunity for students to meet people who work in multiple fields related to geoscience, because I bring in a lot of people I know, not only in academia, but also in industry and in research. So students can get an idea of what some potential careers could be out there of interest, if you want to go on studying earth science or geology, or even computer science or physics in general. Like, there are so many ways in which this field overlaps with other fields. So if you have additional questions about registration for PSU credit or the syllabus, it's all in Canvas on our Class Canvas website under modules. There will be a link page where it has all the tips for registration and instructions. If after looking at that you still have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Email is best. You do not have to register for credit to stay in the class here at Wells. I just want everybody who is interested in geology to be here in the class. So regardless whether you're enrolled for credit or not, though, you're going to be covering the same content. So no one is going to have to do more work for their college credit. We're all doing the same stuff. Hopefully we'll be able to take our field trip in the spring. Normally we take a field trip in the fall down to PSU and for the geology department and get student IDs and explore the library, which your student will have access to the library and a student ID card made for them, as well as free tutoring through the library. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it for the fall, but I'm hoping in the spring we'll get to do our field trip out the Columbia River Gorge. And I might be asking for a chaperone or two if anyone is interested. So please reach out if you have any other questions. It's going to be a great year. I'm super excited to be face-to-face with your student again. So take care.